Okay, welcome back to the Bullet Corner Movie Review Hours, and we are going back once again in direction of Welcome to Derry episode 7. Now, this one begun with a trip into the past to see how the original and who the original Pennywise character was, Bob Gray, who was basically Ingrid's dad, a normal clown entertaining kids at the circus, just basically living his life as a normal guy doing normal things up until this moment when the monster inhabiting the form of this boy understood and found out and realized that the kids were attracted to Pennywise, and since this monster likes to feed on kids, since their fear is a lot more pure as young diluted by age than adults have, basically saw that Pennywise was the perfect foil for it and lured him into the forest, and we all know what happened from there. Now the next thing is we got back into the scenes we ended with from episode 6, the black spot where those white men turned up, and we talked about potential massacre that would happen, and we are now finding out that it's Ingrid Kesh who was the one who put the call across to let the white men know that Hanlon was hiding in the black spot, because she knew that these white men would bring some sort of violence and fear, and basically there will be a big clash here which will most likely guarantee that Pennywise will also be there, since he's attracted to all these negative elements, all these negative factors. And next thing, they come in, try to get past the crew to see if they can search the place. And the soldiers hold their own, bring out their own guns, much to my surprise, because even they were parking at that particular point. And here I was thinking, at least for now, we'll have some respite. And maybe they find a way to get Hanlon out of the place. Then Hanlon foolishly rushes out, declaring himself. Now it's one thing to blame him for coming out, because after all, he just wanted them to just take him and go and not disturb anybody else, and let there not be any violence, any big clash basically. If his life was what they wanted, then he was willing to make that sacrifice. But these guys had already put their necks on the line for you by saying you were not there and these white men couldn't search. What was now the point of him coming out and basically just ruining everything? So it's just one of those things where I still think either way, whether they allowed the white men to search or not, they were basically effed. Because these men came with guns, they came with masks, so they were ready. And they brought a chain to lock. So like no matter what he did in that moment, whether they allowed the white men to search or whether they didn't allow the white men to search, they would have ended up in the same place basically. But in the massacre that came, locked the doors, burned the building with them inside, it just basically reminds us of how dark and how grimy and how nasty racism and all these elements can be. And while watching that and just feeling sad for the spectacle, was feeling sad for the situation that represents the realities of so many black people and truly black Americans, not just in America but around the world in those times, even up to current times as the case may be. And now, moving away from that, now getting into the spectacle of Pennywise showing up. And like, this is the main event basically. An event this big, this nasty, this violence couldn't go on in Derry, and the main character wouldn't show up. And he was spectacular, he was magnificent, he was everything we wanted him to be. All his scenes were just, you Skarsgård, you really embodied the character of Pennywise to you are delivering basically. All his lines, all his mannerisms, all his movements they are top quality. So away from the spectacle of the horror and the violence and everyone just running around helter-skelter, dying, getting shot from the outside, getting burnt by fire, some people die of smoke inhalation and all that stuff. Just watching Pennywise do his work, it was very gripping basically. It was very entertaining, it was very fun to watch. Now for Hanlon, I said in the previous review that the box that Pennywise knocked open in the previous 2 episodes didn't contain anything, but it seemed that box was not just containing his past memories and every bad situation he had buried deep down. It also contained his ability or his power to see dead people. And now you can understand why he kept that box locked away, because who wants to be seeing dead people at every moment of the day when you have no control over that? So that box getting open is basically giving him back the powers of seeing dead people at every minute, at every moment. And imagine just being the only guy seeing specters that are not there, that can only see you. And now Pennywise is telling him that those dead people can talk to him too. He cannot just only see them, they can see him too. So it's like his life is just messed up. So I can understand the terror and the fear that had gripped him in that moment when Pennywise was going to knock the box open in episode 5, I think. Now the other kids got out, but Richie and Marge were the ones left, and Richie found a box and they basically did a reprisal of Rose and Jack in Titanic, but this time with not with the, I think it was not the log of wood, but with the metal box. Now, lost in the adoration of Richie's sacrifice, basically getting Marge into the box and lining up all of it. I know you clap or applaud Richie's bravery and Richie's willingness to sacrifice himself at this young age, but logically, Marge would have died basically, because being in that room with all the fire and basically most likely going to die from smoke inhalation if everything was basically as it was supposed to be. But they just did that up because basically that's just blood armor or something. But if everything was to be kept to 100, she would have died being in that box because there was no air to breathe. Everywhere was up in flames. So maybe if the fire didn't get to her, smoke would have definitely gotten to her and she would have most likely died. But in the absence of the spectacle of the sacrifice, it was very gripping, a very harrowing thing to watch a young child like Richie giving up his life to save that of his friend. It was very moving and it was very touching basically. Now for Ingrid, I said in the last episode that she was most likely feeding kids to Pennywise and basically engineering so much violent and nasty situations as much as she could so that she would at least catch a glimpse of her dad. And in this one again, she sees Pennywise and he just kills her husband in front of her with no feeling or no regard, and that's another thing for Pennywise that it was marvelous to watch basically. But her now coming to the realization that this guy that she thinks is her dad is not even really her dad. He doesn't even care about her. He's just there to feed and go back to sleep basically. So her coming to that realization was funny to watch because, I mean, what do you expect? A monster that only comes out during times of fear, during times of violence, that comes to eat kids and shows up in the most nasty situations possible, and you believe or you think that there's somehow a semblance of your dad in there. Your dad who, for all the moments he was alive, never really had any violent tendencies or thoughts towards anybody from the flashbacks we saw. It was not like he was a raging drunk or someone who was basically antagonistic towards him. He was basically a normal guy playing a clown in a circus. And you think that him showing up at every point of violence, at every point of despair, at every point of every negative emotion you could describe is normal. I mean, come on. What did she expect? So her getting hit with the deadlights, I'm sure there's no one in this series who will be missing her, either in the series or the actors or in part of the audience. I mean, learning that she was doing this, she has been the one basically guiding Pennywise all this while. I mean, I'm sure everyone has been put off her at this point. I'm sure everyone has been put off her at this point. Now, the next thing is Daniel. I was asking if he really escaped the sewers in episode 6 review. I think this is the first time they've shown him since that time, and we are seeing him. He's back with his family, and they are happy that Pennywise has gone back to sleep because they cannot feel him around Derry anymore. But I don't know if he has told them that he has lost the shard because that was not mentioned. So I don't really know. We were just talking and saying they were good and everyone was protected for now, and they were going to wait the next 27 years if they're going to still be alive by then. So we do not know if he has told them about the shard because they are still acting normally as if everything is all good and all fine. So that's still a question. That's maybe an open-ended question. I don't know what the answer to that is. Now the next thing is Hanlon. After everything he had been told previously by the general that they were going to use Pennywise to fight the Cold War and all that stuff. And now he's discovering that everything he was told about the mission was basically a front for something else. He thought they were going to cage Pennywise and reduce his cage and make it closer. But now he's finding out that the general's plans are something else. Now the next thing, not really the next thing, but in this line of events, finds out they are going to destroy the shard. And him coming up to the facility, military facility, pulling out a gun in open space, come on. He did not laugh, he did not rhyme. If he had maybe gotten someone and taken someone hostage, I could understand them deferring and being hesitant to shoot him or being hesitant to attack him. But he was in an open space, there was nobody really that close to him. He wasn't holding anybody hostage, just in an open space, pointing a gun at someone and telling the scientists to bring the shard out of the fire. It didn't really rhyme, it didn't really make sense. didn't really, particularly in the military, basically a military zone, there's a lot of soldiers around. He's just a guy with one gun, not even holding anyone hostage, pointing a gun at someone from a distance. That sequence, he didn't laugh, he didn't rhyme. He didn't laugh at all. Like he did not hit. That sequence wasn't well planned or well thought out to me, in my opinion. But going up to General and finding out the General is planning to use Pennywise as a weapon of sounds even funny to even say, but General is planning to use Pennywise as a weapon to unite Americans based on fear. So he's going to destroy the Shard and basically let Pennywise loose out of Derry and let Pennywise prey on the entire America, simply because he thinks that people living in fear is what will unite them. Even if, let's say, everyone was on board for the plan, how long will it work? Does he think that Pennywise will just be content to just... Pennywise was only sleeping because he was in prison in Derry, and probably, to me, maybe he got bored because feeding on the same people in the same town. At a point, you get bored of it. But now you are trying to give him access in the whole of America. Pennywise would have been doing murder tours around the whole country for God knows when. So that's like, the motivation of General was dumb, let's just put it that way. But we understood that it's in line with the story of General wanting a more united America and all that stuff. And Hanlon again, putting a gun on the General, I don't know. It feels very left of center compared to what we've been seeing so far in this series. So that entire sequence in the army base with all the guns and stuff, with Hanlon pulling guns, I wasn't feeling it. Now the next thing is the Shard that was taken from the ground and they were going to destroy. Now I was kind of questioning their ability to burn or destroy the Shard, since I think this is supposed to be an extraterrestrial material and stuff like that. But if the Shard got destroyed or got broken apart upon impact when Pennywise crashed into the earth, I guess it's logical for them to be able to use fire to destroy it. Now, with Pennywise out in the open, so his first victim was Will Hanlon. I don't really know why he took the boy, but he just messed him up. Our Will was busy there trying to just prove himself, trying to convince himself that he wasn't scared. And he turned around and Pennywise was already in his house, soaked in blood and all that stuff. And just hit him with the deadlights. And Will is like totally gone. Not totally gone because we've seen people survive the headlights. I think the main girl, I've forgotten her name right now, but the main character, one of the main characters in the 8 movies, she got hit with the deadlights and she survived. But with the way Pennywise has been acting in this series, I'm not sure if Will is going to survive. But I know that there will be a Hanlon that will remain in there, because one of those kids in the 8 movies, his name was Hanlon. So we know that there will be a Hanlon survivor, a Hanlon family that continues to live in Derry. So I think that's where we are right now in That's where we are right now in Welcome to Derry episode 7. Pennywise is out on the loose. Halloran, the hidden box I talked about before, contains his ability to see dead people, which he had kept off the way because he wants to be seeing dead people around. And Grogan, he made a very rash and wild decision, which may or may not have impacted the sequence of the events that happened in the black spot. General wants to use Pennywise not just as the weapon in the Cold War against the Russians, like he told us before, but as a weapon in uniting Americans by preying on their fear. And that's a very wild plan of action. So I think that's where we are right now in Welcome to Derry episode 7. I think the next episode is going to be the finale, and we are going to be seeing the conclusion to this story. I think it has been a wonderful ride so far, barring 1 or 2 hitches and commas and places where I think they should have taken things a little bit different. Said before, we've still not seen anything with the asylum, but I think the only link to the asylum we had was with Ingrid Kesh, who was using the asylum as a feeding ground for Pennywise. They might have lost count of how many kids have gone missing in that asylum and mainly chalked it down to maybe their behavioral tendencies and mental imbalances and all that stuff. So, a lot of things have been happening, a lot of things are going to get concluded in the next episode. I think that drops next week Monday for us here maybe on Sunday for you guys over there. But it's still the bootleg on the bootleg corner. Don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. Leave me with your thoughts in the comment section. Keep it locked in, and I'll be back.